All right, welcome back to The Devil in Detail, the Grendel Reread podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Ben, and this is our 61st episode of the podcast.
All right.
We're covering Grendel Volume 2, Number 14. That's The Devil Inside, Chapter 2 of 3, the Brian Lee Sung story. Those of you keeping track of this sprawling, decades-long saga.
Yes. A great epic, and one that Diana Schutz dubbed her possible favorite of the arcs on Facebook this week.
I read it for the first time today.
You read?
I read this comic for the first time ever today.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
Awesome. So you hadn't finished the BLS saga before, huh?
I read the first issue, and now I read the first two issues.
Awesome. I like it. I like it when there's something new for you to discover, for one of us to discover. It gives a whole fresh new light on the breakdowns.
It's going to be new for me to discover probably
from here on
out. God and the Devil from here on out.
Awesome. I mean, that's great. I mean, that adds a whole new thing because you're not burdened down by like your original view, like when you were younger or whatever.
What'd you do this week?
I had a great week this week. My parents came in to visit. We went to San Diego. We visited the beautiful Balboa Park, which is, I mean, it's basically like, it's kind of like the downtown mall in Washington, D.C. crossed with like Central Park. It's like this sprawling park with all these museums, and we saw the Car Museum, we saw the Air and Space Museum, we saw the Natural History Museum, the Human Museum, and the site of the future Comic-Con Museum, which was very cool. Just got to hang out with them. Babe Lord, the comic, is released and ready to go. If you want to buy one, just go to cosmiclionproductions.com. They all come signed by Babe Lord herself, and it'll come with a free sticker. And the fruit of our labors with the Grendel fanzine, the Grendel zine, are coming to fruition. We've got 14 5-star ratings on iTunes. I want to send a shout out to Mr. Glass and Brock Collins. Checkmate, that's CZECH mate. The Only Mary Ever, Jay Sato. And then these are the older ones: Jason Behrens, who's going to get one for sure, and Joe Nolan. He won the Christine Spar action figure back in the day, but I'll still probably send him a zine. And then the most recent one, we've got Baxter 321, and I'm going to just read his. Ben and Eli, thank you for sharing your love and fandom regarding a comic I collected back in the 80s when it came out. Having Matt and the artist who worked on Grendel sharing anecdotes is amazing. Keep the legacy going. Can't wait for the Epi Thatcher chapter, Vivat Grendel. And a lot of great stuff, a lot of very nice words. I mean, and they just did this because they wanted to, not because they're fishing for collectibles.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, it's very appreciated.
If you want collectibles, leave a 5-star review. We'll send you a killer zine. We got a piece of fan art from Barry Tan. Thanks, Barry.
Oh, that was huge. Check it out. It's on the screen right now. And also, if you are these people, tell me.
Rose, by the way,
it was so awesome.
Like, hire this man. He's so good at drawing that character.
And follow him too. We posted in our stories last week, and so check it out. Also, if you are one of these people, and Brock Collins, Checkmate, The Only Mary Ever, those people, please do email me at eli@theweenzine.com. Tell me the username and then send me your mailing address so I can get you your Grendel zine.
So we can talk to you.
Yes, I finally spoke with Brennan Wagner, and so he's probably going to be involved as well, hopefully. And I mean, it's only getting bigger and better. And there's going to be a first round, and then we're going to build on it, and there's going to be a second round later. So, all right, cool, Ben. So, what have you been up to, man?
Good. I jumped back into drawing comics with Oh Fuck Why number 2. I laid out 15 pages. Last 4 of number 2. First 11 of number 3.
Nice.
Working on
it as always. I got to see some of those.
Yep. Working on a crazy double page spread. And I'm just trying to get back into that groove of, I'll know if I have 3 or 4 pages done by Sunday. I'll know I found that groove again. If not,
well.
it's lost.
Lost forever.
Well, I took some time off to do a bunch of different things and small projects and this and that, and
Right.
yeah. So it's going very well. I've been teaching. I have a new private student. I taught animation summer camp for the New York Film Academy today.
Oh, awesome.
Doing great. Enough about me. Let's get a Grendling. I have theories that will blow your mind. Boom!
2 in the box, ready to go. Any fast, any slow. Yeah. Vivat Grendel.
It's like the devil is my best friend. On the roads with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
All right, welcome back. Another great intro by Manus and Laserdisc. Thanks, dudes.
New one every week.
New one every single week. You guys might not notice the differences, but they are there.
Speaking of differences between versions, we've got Dark
Right.
Horse and Kimiko, and there's a few slight differences, but besides the paper stock, there's some color changes, and we start off out the gate. The Kimiko credits have been replaced with some very classy Bernie doodads.
Yeah, some Bernieisms here.
We're
And
gonna talk about the cover. Oh my god!
oh my god, blow it up,
Forget
send it backwards. Another amazing one.
It's one again. Like it was sitting on my front. And I go, oh, what's on the back? I actually have no idea. Oh my god!
Oh, because you hadn't read it yet.
We were talking last week about all the different like torn lace, dry brush, airbrush craziness. This one, it's all about the jacket, seems like. And it's like there are parts of the zipper that look like a real zipper,
Yeah, right.
but there are parts of the zipper that look like a painting. And that was the same thing that we were saying yesterday, last week, where it really has an illusion quality. Like again, like is that thread or not thread on his mask?
Right. And are those like cut out pieces of paper that were like laid over top of like some sort of other painting like that? And then like you said, is it painted some from the front, layered, and then painted from the back? Though I don't think it's painted from the back. It's got to be like canvas to get that texturization.
Well, I mean, it looks like real denim in some places. Like it looks like
Yeah.
the cuff, like the cuff by your foot or whatever it is. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then also there's a brass button on his,
Yeah, right.
but I can't tell if that's real or if it's a painting.
Oh my God. We gotta connect with Matt and maybe Joe Matt again and Diana or something like that on the next
Yeah, man.
on the next
There's a
group.
few other effects on the back that are really cool. Like there's a lot of tooth on this canvas. You can
Yeah,
really
a
see,
lot
like,
of tooth.
the wind streaked like the ice. And then these streaks that go into the sky are
Right, from the-
unbelievable. You can sort of see Bernie or whomever, Bernie or Ken, trying to pilot some of those moves by the moon on the front.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they really figured it out by the time they got to the back.
So
Listen,
sweet.
And it's just like you do this, and it's like you don't even know if the camera's going to pick it up.
Right. When it gets photographed.
Mhm.
And even the cover painting on the Dark
Right,
Horse
by Matt.
by Matt. Yeah, actually, there's one of those online for sale. I think I might have said this last week, but there's one on sale on eBay
go-
for like a ton.
Let's go get it.
Yeah,
The one of the
because
things
I want to.
one of the things that Matt talks about a lot is how every series has its own like unique spin on the logo.
All right.
And the Dark Horse has that, and it's the
It's perfect.
the stitching. It's perfect. It has this like holistic homespun lo-fi quality that we haven't really seen yet so far. Oh, this is so cool. And then so anyway, so spoilers on the cover, Brian's gonna shoot someone with a
with
bow
an
and
arrow.
Well, yeah, with his bow and arrow. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really interesting to like once we turn into the first page here, and because last week I didn't get to compare the Dark Horse and the Kamiko. This week I was really looking, and I didn't notice how much the paper makes a difference between with the newsprint in the Kamiko. There's a real red. There's a lot of red overtones like in the black. And not so much like
all the gutter ink is like this chocolate, this burnt color.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, like we gotta figure. And then there's 3 people working on the color of this book. So like that's the if it takes 3 people to get this job done with all the crazy effects, like the whole thing is just like strategic, like making like ninja badassery. It's fucking great.
Yeah, and like it just says effects by Bernie in the Kamiko, but then it says artist and color FX.
Okay, so I have a theory. What I think Bernie's credit is for is for the red like airbrush.
Maybe
on the I think for this stuff. But I think it's for the white text. I think possibly
maybe all
doing
that
that
stuff
in white ink on the very top of the acetate.
Interesting.
That's what I think. That's what I think is happening.
I'm gonna have to write to Bernie today.
Yeah. Another thing that happens a lot with Matt, and this will be fantastic to talk to Matt about color theory and all this, is that there's a lot of places in this series. The Brian Lee Sung, where Matt will be doing something with like lighting a figure, and there will be 2 tones, and it looks like he's achieving this with like 2 different transparent watercolor glazes, because there are parts it happens on almost every single panel where the rim, there's like a little tiny rim of some color peeking out, and
I see.
And it almost makes it look like a mistake, but it's consistent throughout the entire book. It's more than, the plates kept slipping or whatever it is. It's this really, really subtle.
And it kind of adds to the like furiousness, the uncertainty, the craziness in Brian's own head. Like
Matt does so many crazy things. And so I will be, when we're like hawking him about Tom Vincent's colors, he's like, I do not remember.
Right.
You will not be off the hook that easily.
Do you mean Joe Matt? You mean Joe Matt for the colors and stuff?
Joe Matt? On this book?
Yeah, who did the colors here?
This book is colored by, oh my God. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
Wow. I mean, Matt, you're just calling him by his last name.
I thought Matt colored the first one.
Oh, did he?
Maybe I'm super confused.
I thought Joe Matt.
Yeah, Matt, in the first issue, Matt has a colorist credit.
Oh, it's like him and Joe Matt and
then the two other guys having. Okay, cool.
Okay, so maybe we'll dial in on that a a little bit more.
Maybe we can edit out my foolishness.
Never.
All right, Joe Matt, we're gonna. It's funny. It's funny. Okay.
All right, so we pick right up where we left off the last issue, where he's sweating, the mask in his pocket, burning, scorching his waist, as Ginny is banging at the door. Where are you? And she comes in. Anyone home? Brian, are you there? And he's like sweating and seething. He's like, I am Grendel.
Yeah, he's having heroin withdrawal, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And Regina's like,
she's going. Yeah, so look at this last panel. Look at the spot of pink that's between the lenses of her sunglasses.
Oh yeah, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It looks like it's a mistake, but it's not a mistake because it's brilliantly done. It's just like, how do you conceive of that?
Well, and then it's gone in the Dark Horse. So I wonder, like,
really?
Yeah.
In the Dark Horse. Too much.
In the Dark Horse.
Oh, I keep taking.
And there's another interesting one as we turn the page too. Well, not on this next page, but
yeah.
Okay, so then Brian's like, or Regina's like, Brian, oh my God, are you all right? What's going on? And he's like, he has collapsed on the ground and he's just like kind of shaking. And he's like, but, he's being real short with her. They haven't seen each other in a while. They're kind of like, he's number one, he's not in his right mind. He's not in his right head. He's worn out. He's tired. New York's having an effect on him. And so he's kind of being short and a little pissy.
He's rude. First he's rude, then he's rude as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
He's awful. He is being terrible.
Yeah, he's like, what did your car burst a floater pod on the way to Long Island? Like,
That's so
funny.
obnoxious.
You only call when you need something,
Well, she says, yeah, well, I came by because Wiggins keeps wanting to talk.
Well, but he's like, it's the specter of Christine. We're turning the page now.
Oh yeah,
aren't we?
I don't know. Were you talking about this little blue sliver on Brian's nose on page 3?
Oh wow, yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And then look at his eyeball in panel 1 on page 3. Look at the left side of his eyeball, that little red glint.
And it's in both this time too.
Yeah.
But then Regina's glasses in the Dark Horse, there's like an added like little circle, like a white tracing kind of thing that maybe was in the original, but was like drowned out or something.
You can see it. It's not picking up that.
That might have been the printing process, like the ink, like spread or whatever, and that line was too fine or something.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very, very cool. All right. So
so right here, it's like tried to get into my pants from the word go. So now he's getting testy. Doesn't
this is actually the first thing that we learn about Wiggins, like as a character.
Right.
That's like other than like he was like Argent's lapdog, no pun. He was like, there's scenes where he's Argent's butler.
Basically, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, and then we don't really know anything about him. He's like ruthless, he's foppish, and then here we just learned that like he ain't no gentleman, Jim.
and this whole issue, we kind of get the first characterizations of him.
And of all these characters. So are you ready for my theory?
Okay, here we go.
So in the arcs to come, the Legend of Grendel and Hunter and Christine and Brian and whatever other corporate need had to be filled was filtered through tons and tons of media and motion pictures and like MCU, like in the same way that people our age, closing in on middle age, are still obsessed with He-Man or whatever the fuck,
right,
whatever the fuck it is.
It's part of pop culture. It's like
right.
the zeitgeist.
Yeah, and it's an important part of pop culture, and that's what happens with the Legend of Grendel. In the one that I read last week, the company, I think it's called Omnicore, the company that makes that entertainment or some of it, who knows how much of it there is,
right,
is also brokering the like a governmental merge between Russia and the US. But they also make a shit ton of movies. So here's my theory. I think that Devil's Legacy is actually a movie about Christine it's an action movie made by this company.
Wow.
And that the tonal shift between the outrageous what the Panders did, it's like totally punk, it's totally fresh, completely kinetic. It's a super potboiler, and like everyone's super handsome and their hairstyles and the fashion, and I think it's a movie, and I think that this is like the needle scratch where we're like, and this is reality.
Oh wow!
So that's my
Interesting.
potential retcon headcanon theory.
Interesting. I like that.
Because it's not just Wiggins Wiggins is the way, we'll get into it. all these characters are sort of are reimagined, not only in design but in little personality bits.
And like a little bit of, you know, how it would be like a character in a film is, even if it's based on a real person, is sort of like a you know, wired out, outlandish, you know, balls to the wall version of that person. And
Yeah,
now
well, you
we're
get,
kind of back into like, you know,
right. We get beautiful Hollywood people to play
yeah,
Jordan Belfort or Aaron Brockovich or, you know,
exactly. Yeah.
whoever, you know, whoever it is. They're always like,
Yeah. Julia Roberts
yeah,
playing
right,
this normal person, or yeah.
All right, cool.
Cool. Yep. So next page. Oh no.
She
Yeah.
wants
Okay.
about the logs. Wiggins is asking
Right.
about the logs. Where's the logs? Where's the logs?
Right.
You
And
sure
she's
don't know
like,
where
you
the logs
sure
are?"
there's nothing you're hiding from me? You sure there's nothing, you know? And Brian's like, no, no.
But he says no. This is very oddly worded. Are you sure? And he says no. So I'm not sure. It's just like
You're
he's
sure?
so
No.
he's so like mixed up and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
You know nothing about those logs. You're sure? No, I know nothing. That's what
She
he's
says,
saying. No
"Well,
to.
I just thought maybe Chris would have told you something. Maybe she left a clue in the mail. She liked to
Yeah,
do that
she
a
liked
lot.
to do that. Yeah.
In fact, she did do that.
Right. And we got
all
it
the
together.
time.
We like saw that together.
And so like this Virginia being like organized, caring,
Regina.
Regina,
Yeah, yeah.
Virginia,
Virginia?
Regina.
Regina. Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember her last name. This Ginny is like in a few panels is just a much more like reserved and less impulsive and thoughtful character than
The Ginny
previously.
before.
Now remember, at the end of the adventure, Regina and BLS are basically in like a buddy cop comedy.
Yeah, they're racing around,
Right?
like doing stuff,
They're having a
finding,
great time.
yeah, blasting into the door.
Yeah, so months have passed and that didn't, you know, either that didn't happen that way or it's just so much time has passed that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, he's a real asshole here as we turn the page. Like, I just thought like maybe something came to your mind, something you overlooked, something she told you like right at the end. Cause like that is what happened right at the end. Didn't she tell him like where the logs were and stuff? Or he just.
that is a little vague and hazy to me. This is she's going to deal with some of that, but I don't know if we're going to be able to give concrete answers without complete encyclopedic recall. So BLS says, well, if Wiggins bugs you so much, why don't you just go out with him and lurch him off later? I mean, that's your style, isn't it? Lurch him off means ghost him, right?
Yeah, ghost him. Yeah, I was
Not-
thinking that. Like
okay.
lead him on and then like not
I
like,
just like-
lurch
yeah,
him off.
That's what I thought. I was like,
Leave him
and-
tall and stiff like Lurch from Adam's Family.
Lurch and Thing, yeah, Thing job. Yes, that's great. Okay, great. I really love BLS's acting here. He just like did not give a
slouch.
shit.
He's hanging over. Yeah,
And then,
of course
and-
you don't.
oh god, what kind of crass piece of shit is that to say?
Yeah,
Everything about this is, again, like it's such a completely different book.
mm-hmm.
It's I would contend that Devil's Legacy is actually a movie made in the future,
like an artist
about 2017. Yeah. From like it's in like 2022, but it's from 2015.
I mean, San Francisco is so much different than New York City. I mean, New York City has always, and those two cities are always different, but it's like, I mean, it's really, really different here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is. The characters, the tone, the design, everything. Anyway, so she hurt, I know, but she must have been hurt bad to have seen love in those sour eyes.
Right.
Goodbye,
And that's what
Brian.
I'm thinking. It's like you can't compare this Brian Lee song to the previous, like
None of them.
happy-go-lucky Brian Lee song who's just working, but now he had his like love
He's
taken
like,
from him, killed in
yeah.
front of him,
Well,
held
he was
her dead
well,
body.
he was a charming guy, and now he's a shell.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Regina's like, ugh, you used to be charming and now you're a shell. I don't get why. And it's like, bitch,
Wait,
our friend was killed in front of us.
I didn't mean to. I want to be able to call you. What a selfish. fuck.
Right. Yeah.
See you sometime. I'm not your style, Brian.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So-
Slam.
I really love that he's so Grendel crazy that he's speaking without filter.
Yeah.
He just says whatever wants to come out of his mouth. You know, not unlike if you had a neurological disorder. Or, you know,
Yeah, I mean, which is basically what's happening.
Spectrum issues, but
Yeah.
like it is like what's happening. It's like the Grendel like causes a disorder that
Yes.
mixes like narcissism and sociopathy and like violence and the need to dominate and like
Right.
all this horrid shit. And it's just like, you know, the people that are like this in real life, like are sociopaths.
Yeah. And it's
You know?
like mixed with the like feeling of drunkenness, almost like where you have no filter and you have all that stuff. You know, like,
and he's so out of it that he says without filter the rudest shit you could possibly imagine. That last dig, if anyone said that to anyone in real life,
yeah, you'd be like, okay, fine,
like catch some fists, you know. But then she reacts, and he's like, "Oh, don't be that way. It's not that bad."
Don't be that way.
He doesn't even see. He can't. He's so full of like discouraged self-pity that his perspective is fucked.
Right. Ice on ice, in ice, of ice, like ice, only
Yeah.
ice.
So it's winter,
cold as hell,
and it's cold, and
he's
frigid
cold.
and freezing, and coldness is used throughout the language of this.
Right. And on the next page, we can literally see he can only see red. He is like seeing red.
This is an amazing panel. There are a number of pages in this issue, in this book, that I was just like, wow, these are easy contention for some of the best pages in the series so far. And we've looked at hundreds of them at this point.
Absolutely.
This is really great. What kind of pen is this?
Feature pen?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like one of those pens that's like a lead holder, you know, it's not a pencil, it's a lead holder or whatever.
I had a comparison for what I thought this face looked like. First of all, it looks great. It doesn't need to look like Jaime or Charles Burns or whoever to be validated. This is a fucking amazing drawing.
Yeah.
Look at that mouth. Look at the upper lip in the mouth. Oh God.
Like it's that kind of thing where like on its own, or like technically it may not seem like much or something, but in the context of the like breakdown of sanity that's going on in this comic, it's like absolutely perfect. Because he's kind of like
oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Distorted and going nuts.
Yeah.
The cheekbones are really haunting. Biting his lip. Joe Matt. Colorist Joe Matt.
Yes.
Wow. Well, the thing is, then maybe we have to figure out what exactly Matt colored in the shoe one. Joe Matt uses so much negative space to pop in those highlights. It's just like, what's this from? 1987? You think that's going on at Marvel and DC in 1987?
No. Well, especially what they weren't doing then is filling in all the gutters with black. Like that would not come for like 20 more years later, and that's like being done in every page here. Really well.
I mean, under Shooter, like you can't do anything.
Yeah, you would never. Yeah.
Now, plenty of Marvel books look just like this.
Like this. Yes, absolutely. Full bleed, all black, like the gutters. Yeah.
Yep. Do you think? How do you think these note scrap paper things were done? Do you think they're drawn directly on, or pasted up, or what?
Yeah, I think they are drawn.
Drawn
on.
Pinaha. And I think that did he do Devil's Legacy?
I don't think. Maybe actually. Maybe he did.
He may have. I'm not sure. I feel like we would have been talking about him more. His work is certainly has more work.
The lettering makes me think more of Bernie. These are like thicker letters. These are like chunkier.
Which ones? The
just all the lettering. I mean,
all the lettering. Huh? Interesting. All right, so let's see. God and Christ. How could she say such a thing? Yeah, right. He has no idea what's going on in reality. How could she say such a thing? Isn't it my love of Chris that has kept her? That has kept me in this human cesspool. I loved her more than you ever could. I loved her like you wished you could. Bitch, stay out of my life then. I need only my love of Chris and the fires she drank. I need only the courage she embraced. Even as she embraced me, she chose to cling to me along with her fears. It wasn't that she felt alone, she felt. I had thought the horrible truth to be I was alone. What? Not horror, truth. This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's written in a completely different style than Christine's logs.
Yeah.
For one thing.
Well, and then also you can feel it breaking down and making and being less and less succinct thoughts, complete sentences, these types of things.
Right. And while it's less it's more stylized, it's more clear what's trying to be said. And that's not just in the writing and the volume of the writing, but in the panel border that it resides in. Makes it when we were looking at God and the Devil, it would be Christine's monologue, and suddenly the narrative captions would just change color 3 times in one panel.
Or was it? No, not be. Is it Behold the Devil? Come on, you said God and the Devil, but
I meant Devil's Legacy.
Devil's Legacy. Yeah. We haven't got to
Yeah. And so like Chris would be talking in standard boxes, and they go green, yellow, red, blue, green. And it's
right.
So this is just like a much direct and clearer device.
Yeah, clearer into the brain of the narrator, the inner narration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's and there's 2 different tracks of that, plus everyone talking Robert Altman in the background here, and it's never confusing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Like we turn the page and we're getting that like Jesus, it's supposed to snow, cold, snow, yuck, snowing, slush, And I like how it's the sound of everyone outside, and then as he comes inside, it's the same sentiment, snow.
Yeah.
But this time, not that kind of snow.
Right. Yeah.
Snow.
That's a very fun little like graphic match.
Yeah.
Text match. This is a wonderful sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels, but the 5th one is just the blackness of night.
Mm-hmm.
This text approach, where it's just like one word or fragmented, which they've been doing a lot, also gets play later on, where I really like it. I think that it makes for a very unencumbered reading experience.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to sort of fill in the blanks, as opposed to like stumbling through whatever verbiage,
right. Or a bunch of full thoughts or something like that.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I really love this. There's the Brian drawings on this spread really kind of bring him to life a lot, but this last close up of him with the scarf looks like Matt and Rich in Devil by the Deed. Those big nose shadows and all that.
Oh, right. And this is on the page here, like where he's like, Darlene, Darlene.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at the size of his hands. In that panel.
Do you think that's a guy and a girl, the actors there, or 2 ladies, or? Yeah, definitely a lady with a
guy. Yeah, the guy
there standing up with like a fire truck outfit.
So rigid.
Yeah, you're so rigid, Brian. We turn the page and he's like, get that shit into the dressing room. It's illegal.
Says, these people, these cretinous wrenches flashing in chemical darkness, they think they're alive. They think they're high. They think it's fun. They take death in doses. They think they float in darkness. It's the other way around. Holy shit. So that prose is that piece of prose is better than anything from the entire last series.
Yeah.
They think they float in darkness. It's the other way around. Darkness floats in them. Woo!
Yes.
Chilling.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah. And so, they're just kind of giving Brian a hard time. We're back in to see his like work again, the kind of monotony.
Sexually harassed. And the guy's like, yeah, you're rigid. Yeah.
Yep. Rigid. As they, they're saying, you probably don't even like gay people, but aren't you from San Francisco? There continues to be the little bit of entendre. No, that's not the right word.
Just like being a jerk about sexuality,
about everything.
Just being presumptive and discriminatory and
that's kind of what happens when you are on a bunch of coke. You just talk and talk and talk, and you just say for no reason, and he's just like, okay, shut up, like
Okay, so
up
he-
yours, never mind. It's not
He
even
turns the
worth
corner
it.
to meet up with Ridley, who I guess is like the theater manager, the GM.
Well, no, I think he's the costume designer. Remember, previously they were like, "Oh, we need to get the costumes out of the prop room," and we're back to back. And now he's like, "Right, thanks again. Now I got the costumes out of the prop room."
He tells him that this morning, Frida, who I think was the older actress, was under.
Right.
She was wearing a wig that had chemical dye in it.
Right. She was complaining about her wig being too red last issue.
Oh, that's right, and that the lighting wasn't right. Oh shit!
Uh-huh.
And that here it said that she was complaining about the color of the gel. It was a romance scene, and it was
Right,
orange,
exactly.
purple.
You can't light a romance scene in orange or something.
Or something like that. And so there was like it sounds like they took the gel off the light.
It was too hot.
Didn't replace it with whatever was going to dampen the heat or something. And
she Michael Jacksoned in that Pepsi commercial. Just her
that's
head lit on
crazy.
fire.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's
Uh-huh. Okay, and so he's just like, Jesus, okay. So now, like,
Jesus, is she all right? I don't know. Fuck it.
Now the Coke girl over there is your star, and she's like, so he hands her what, the key here to something?
The key to Yale.
It looks like Yale, yeah, right?
The key to Yale. Brian talks later about them sharing this key and it being lucky that he had access to it. But this Ridley guy is there anything good in this note here? He's just talking about these idiots that he has to work with.
Again, yeah. It's just like they have no idea like what's behind me. And it's really kind of just a setup. But then again, here we go on the next page where they're talking about it. I know what a pain in your ass she was. And then he says it again, my little chickadee.
Yeah, so they were talking about Frida that first time.
Right. Why do you think they invoke that?
That's a good question. They're going to do it again in a much more pointed way later on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you become of the Grendel and all this like justification and all this romance, you sort of like find yourself repeating you don't have very good role models.
Right. The inner monologue, the little things, he's reading the logs again. So maybe even for Hunter in the writings, we don't get to see a ton of them, but maybe, my little chickadee is also like some sort of refrain or like a punctuation that he says, like in Groundhog Day, Chris Elliott's always like prima donnas or something like that, like it's something that he keeps saying.
I think that maybe it's that Hunter had everything. Hunter had style and grace and class and wealth and power, and he had Stacy. And I'm in a hell of my own. And the closest thing I have to Stacy is this actress that I hate.
Yeah.
Getting fucked up.
Right. Like, and maybe he does care for her, but he's never really let on. And then I just love it. He just looks at the mask there of the 2-0 style mask. He just like gives it the casual finger.
When I was reading the spread, especially the first panel on the second page, if you told me that panel was done by Mobius, I would believe you.
Oh yeah.
And it's like what Joe Matt brings with this, like, man, I don't know what he's doing here. It looks like a spatter. It looks like he's cutting Frisket on the figure and the foreground.
You mean the My Little Chickadee panel or on the next page?
No, on the next page where he's standing on the stage.
Okay.
In this like green fade. I know I got ahead of myself. Anyway, he gives the mask the finger and he gets out of there. And so the beginning is still another graceless day. Only in the growing sterility of the prop room is there refuge. Only there do I make order in the face of chaos.
Yes.
Very more cocky.
I can only swim with strokes, swift and sure.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of,
ridiculing that icon that still feeds on fears. And I always keep the mask with me in there still.
Yeah, that's interesting too. It's not like he doesn't throw it away because it's taunting him or reminding of his crazy past. He keeps it there to like fuel his anger and then, like you said, the next page we get there, this amazing layered panel.
Yeah, this is amazing. Do you want to read the note?
Nothing could compare to the murk that stepped in out of the pit later. As I saw him swagger down the aisle, all I could think of was grabbing his throat as he had viced mine. How he offered me eggs while saying my Chris was a fiend. A glint from his eye and shield, both slight.
What? Both
Wait, eggs?
Slight. Yeah,
Oh,
when they were having breakfast together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right, when he was Argent's butler.
Right.
Yeah. His eye and shield both slight. I do not understand what that means. I think maybe it means that they're like the equivalent of like wearing a backwards baseball hat or something like that.
Slight, like sliding him or something
Like
that.
they're like casual style. I do not know.
He definitely looks like way more like 80s chill, like
Well,
punk.
his script. Let's read the script.
Okay.
First of all, one thing that's really cool is if you read the balloon orders, Brian says, "Damn, great panel. Damn, sick bastard." And then Brian speaks again, but it's from panel 3 down into panel 6.
Right.
Which is
it's interesting.
Such a fucking brilliant problem-solving move.
Yeah.
Like, let's put that in the toolbox and see if we can find a way to make it work, because
Agreed.
It is so efficient. I love it. Okay. I had hoped all this was over. What do you want, Wiggins? And now Wiggins is gonna. When I read this, it's gonna be inspired by the truant officer from Clockwork Orange, who shows up in his apartment. Yes,
Sit down, Alex.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's want. I want to suck margaritas on a COP pension all day, but it seems I'm always looking for Grendel. And how are you, Lee Sung? Well, yes.
Well,
yes.
yes. Mr. Alex.
So it's like much more. I don't think Wiggins got any kind of dialogue like this that had like personality in it, you know?
Well, he's kind of freed. Like, you know, Brian, in the kerfuffle, Brian lost his love and came out on the bottom with his fucked up future. Wiggins kind of escaped this, you know, servitude under this crazy wolf that he was like, and now he's like free and
now he knows what he wants. Right. Now he knows what he wants, and we know he's going to get it.
I mean, that is going to be referenced. It's going to be called back 5 or 6 issues later down the path here. You know, we're going to get that.
So just based on this dialogue alone is another place where I'm like, that is not the Wiggins
that we were introduced to,
either visually or in like very specific speech patterns. So I'm just saying, like, that's a movie, man.
Well, it's interesting too, because there's that anthology A1 that has this like, to me, lost Wiggins story that is very, very cool and sheds like a little bit of light on him in between, like where we see him at the end of the Lee Sung stuff and at the beginning of like the Lost Years stuff. So I'm interested. I'm interested in covering that with you, and whether we do a whole ep on that or not. But I think it's poignant, and it's not really covered anywhere else.
Yeah. This next spread is, I think, one of the first ones where the colors,
right,
where in Dark Horse it favors the ochres and earths and oranges and stuff, and in Kimiko it's just like it looks like the Jam, you know. It's just green suits, lots of greens.
I wonder what happened. Like, was it completely recolored, or was it like, did they not have the original transfer? Like, what happened? Because
I don't know.
I mean,
you know, is a really interesting place to look at is in Brian's hair in this big panel. In the different, there's like those white gaps in
right. They seem pretty similar. They seem about the same.
They do. There's just like something is different. Maybe what they did is they just did a color adjustment digitally, where they just changed the hue. You know?
Right, because
so there's nothing to change.
Right, because like now there is you know, Jason Haverm is the digital production, you know, so he had to do something to you know, scan or photo and take these things into the color, you know. And who made that decision?
Yeah, well, we know a few people who worked on this book, so
We'll have to holler at him.
We'll solve this one. Okay, great.
All right, so they're just connecting back up. He's like, I always seem to remember this theater as classier than it is. So he just kind of starts ripping in on Brian again, talking about how ratty the curtains are.
It's just threatens. He just, he's like, so do you have the logs? No, I already told you. Oh, this place could go up as he strikes a match.
Right, exactly. To like light his little pipe there. He's like, this whole dirty place. And
yes,
Mr.
That shit.
and like now this is where all the like Bernie effects in the margins like are kind of getting a little furious, a little crazy. That Brian on the inside is seething as the Grendel voice inside.
I love that he puts him in the desert and like the Stedman desert in the background.
Right. Hey, do you do voices in your head like when you're reading comics? Like, did you put these?
Well, I definitely had one for Wiggins because of the way that they're breaking up his phrases and his words. So in this last one, he'll have, balloon here, big balloon here. Yes. And it just like the drawing is good. The color brings mood. The dialogue makes sense. It's parsed out with rhythmic intent. So yeah, I get a voice from that. Who's really good at that is Dave Sim. And the one like when he does the Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
Oh, right.
And like and they speak in this like phonetic, like like Cockney or Liverpool accent. And so it's like, when you do that thing in comics where someone talks with their mouth full and you kind of fuck up all the spelling of the word.
Right.
He does it with accents.
Nice.
He does it all the time. And then he also, just like in this book, does a lot of like lettering embellishments. So it's almost like the tropes and the notes. So how to pitch the voice based on that Will Eisner idea of the text reading as an image.
Yes. Notes and tropes. What about these, like the wild beast where lawmen die? Like, how do you read that as like a Tom Waits voice or something like that in the background?
Oh, good voice. I don't really, that I'm not thinking about because it doesn't have a face yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do really like when they're inserting the imagery. Lawmen, where lawmen die. I am the fire regulations. I am the fire. I am the fire.
Yeah.
I like the intensity it's very clear. All right, ha ha ha. Yes, that's right. Oh no. He says, Wiggins, this is amazing.
I love it.
Your gossamer threats smell about as subtle as salami. Why don't you stuff them both up your ass and please get out? Okay, so this is like it's like a line from a trauma movie.
Yes.
It's like cut the shit. What do you want to lick the knife?
Oh my God. It's so funny because it reminds me, I just watched this documentary about Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
And he said that he always wanted to meet Muddy Waters and that he played this show randomly and that it was just like in Back to the Future where he was like, yo, that new sound you're looking for? So like the guy at the club called Muddy Waters. He's like, that kid you're looking for? And so Muddy comes down here and he was like leaving and he's like, you better get back in there, son, and play some guitar. I'm here to hear you. And then the next thing they do a splice of like 3 different interviews, one from like say the 70s, one from like the 90s, and then the current one from the doc. And Buddy Guy's like, the next thing that happened is Muddy Waters made me the best salami sandwich of my life, and then I played my heart out or something like that. I'm like, what the hell? How does that happen? How does he come into a club and just make you a salami sandwich?
So I really like the word here. Why don't you stuff them both up your ass and please get out?
Yes.
Okay, so what?
Please up your ass.
Your gossamer threats smell about as subtle as a slice of. Stuff them both. Stuff both of your threats, or stuff the threats
and the salami.
And the salami. Okay, so it's funny, and Wiggins thinks so too. Ha ha ha! Yes, that's right. I'd almost forgotten. You are from San Francisco, aren't you?
As he's like a handful of his balls up there, like.
So I was really confused. I thought that, so based on this look that Wiggins, so he grabs his package, shit, I've had it with all this gay crud. Look, right here, you gouty shit. And then he like lowers his eyes and like makes like the face that Captain Boomerang gave to Michael Rooker in Suicide Squad, where he like does the kissy face close up.
Oh, I didn't see
So-
it yet. I didn't watch it yet.
Oh shit! Spoilers.
Spoilers. Oh my god.
You know he's giving off like big let's hook up vibes or something.
Yeah.
Or weird.
Just
No,
blowing
he
a
doesn't
big
wa-
smoke ring.
I don't think he doesn't want to hook up. He's just like, yeah, man, yeah, shake it, yeah. It's what I want to see.
Oh, my
That's
God.
what I'm taking out of this.
Well, again, any pertinent info, and he just walks away as Brian is like seething about it.
I got a real kick out of this page.
Oh yeah, the whole interaction is great,
I was like,
and I guess the subtle as a salami is a dick reference.
yeah, not the last one in this series.
Next page, man. I want this jacket so
I feel
bad.
like I
The
saw someone who
official
had it.
embroidered, huh?
Do you see them? Do you ever see them?
Someone got one. I thought on the kayfabe group recently.
Yeah, like Jeff Douglas got one.
Yeah, Jeff. The official embroidered satin jacket from High Five. God damn.
What do you think it feels like to wear this jacket?
Oh. Do you mean like what does it make you feel like?
Well, it's a little bit of both.
It makes you feel like an absolute badass. Like you could take on anything.
I
You
suppose so.
drive an Etzel and battle some
I guess so.
under creatures.
I just like the cuff around the waist. I think it looks good.
Oh, the cuff around the waist did not make it out of the 80s, did it? It's fully lined with black taffeta, highlighted with black piping, a zippered front, 2 slash pockets, and soft acrylic cuffs. Collar.
Brennan,
and waist.
Brennan, I'd like to see you wearing one of these. In your
Absolutely.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh
So,
man, that's
please
so
try to
great.
make that happen.
Only $42.50
Yeah,
plus
that's
sales
crazy.
tax.
That's like $90.
Yeah. And Knight and the Enemy comes back. They're really pushing this.
Yeah, so there was I didn't talk enough about Harlan Ellison. I don't
Last
know. What's that? I didn't talk enough about Harlan Ellison. So apparently Harlan Ellison has a series of short stories that detail either the contents of this book. It's called the Earth Kaiba War, and like 1 in every 7 of his shorts deals with it. I don't think I've ever read any of them. I've read a bunch of Harlan Ellison.
Okay.
Most of it is really fucking good, and I mean like really good. And
Yeah.
then there's a bunch of it where I'll be reading it as a short story on 15 pages. I'll get like halfway through it. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But
What
like,
happened?
when it's not that, it's oh man, it is. He's got some good shit.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
one-
he obviously
there's
is a
one-
master of sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of a lot of stuff. He has this one novel. I mean, it's like 200 pages from like the 50s. That's about like a out of control, like rockabilly 1950s, like rock star.
Mm.
And it's like, if it's not based on Steranko, I don't know what it's. It's like Spider Kiss. It's so cool.
Ooh. I gotta check that out. All
Yeah,
right. So the next
Harlan
one,
Ellison later.
the bile of the day carried into the night. If anything harsher, darker, festering. All right. So yeah. So now we're kind of seeing the play. He's at work. Him and the behind the scenes lady are just arguing.
Yeah, this is
and
another
talking
one
about how
where-
shitty the play is and how none of it works. Gotta say, I love Brian's outfit. Beautiful shirt.
It's a very funny Cosby sweater, like roll down turtleneck kind
Yeah.
of thing.
It's
that's
like if
tucked into
Bernie
his
Moreau
pants.
designed like a Cosby
Yeah, it's like it's very Bernie.
sweater.
The Dark Horse coloring is again like favors those earth tones instead of like the cool blues
Oh,
and
true.
greens.
Yep.
And it works really, really well, especially on this one where she's like holding the curtain and complaining
Yeah.
with the planes pushing back with Brian there. That panel of her complaining right here, I swear to
Mhm.
God, Joe Matt drew this lady.
Oh yeah. Does
It
look
looks-
like
it
very
just,
Joe
it's
Matt.
so in his style. I couldn't believe it. And then
Absolutely.
like the second panel, this is one panel. That's
Oh,
confusing.
right. Yeah,
That's
is.
very confusing.
Yeah,
because
it's
of
only
the
a
way
4-panel page.
because there's that weird tangent.
Which is like the ceiling going
Yeah.
into the stage.
So I think that Matt drew the first 2 panels.
It does kind of have the matte outline.
Absolutely. But you know what else is that it's got this like mage, like this is Joe Matt's marker airbrush mage approach on the stage light.
Oh, absolutely. And even in the panel too, the background behind the candle and stuff.
Right. Really, really cool. So anyway, this lady, she hates it. It's
yeah.
dreck. It sucks. So goddamn trite. Blah, blah, blah. Then he calls her the D slur.
And she's like, this coming from the judgmental prick who's got the cops here every day. Like, so they're just, I mean, you know, Brian's not having any joy anywhere he goes. And then on the next page, he's like,
and he has no filter. Oh hell, I don't parade my private life around like a banner, at least. Okay, that's pretty rude.
Yeah, like saying, oh, you always wanted to be an actress, and so you're behind the scenes and you're bitter.
You couldn't cut it. Not good looking enough, maybe.
Oof. But then
it always comes down to that. Christ, see, it always comes down to that, doesn't it? Christ, you pocket packers are all, and then the little drone flies in and tells
right. Our first shade of these future technologies we've been missing that San Francisco seemed to be rife with. And
this is a way different robot design than
right. It's still like steampunky and probably has like steam coming out the back. It's whirring.
Yeah, this is like much more Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
The other robots were a little Brazilian, but they had those like Bugs Bunny gloves on their hands.
Yeah, they always did.
So that's, you know,
this is
that's
more
like
utilitarian.
If you read Magnus Robot Fighter ever, which why would you? When they relaunched it under Shooter at Valiant in '92.
Right.
They just kept all the like 1960s designs of like, you know, his weird tunic mini skirt and like the retro robots, and they're just all the same, you know.
That's kind of the cool part though, huh?
It's cool. They have very strange robot designs. Anyway, this robot looks great. It looks like the Imperial probe droid.
Oh yeah, exactly. Designed by Mobius.
Yeah, or it looks like Moltar. Yeah, this is cool. The whir coming out of the little
from Space Ghost. You mean Space Ghost from page 1?
Oh yeah, Space Ghost on page 1. He had a Kamiko book.
Steve Rude.
Steve the
dude.
Rude dude PD. Okay, cool. One thing that happens here, because they changed the color, like it's snowing in this last panel, but the sky's orange. So so it doesn't feel cold.
That's snowy.
You know?
Still the green is not super snowy, but still.
And then I love, this is so Bernie, the backwards sign is for a company called Martin Paints. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's just like, that's what it is. That's like very
flowery or special. It's just
Martin Paints. Well, Jaffa Optical.
He sure does.
It's like a Maurice Sendak in the Night Kitchen, where there's like all these like 1920s style packages in the skyline and stuff. Okay, great.
Well, this is cool. He's talking about, we kind of take like a breather here on the next page where he's talking about how he's been neglecting his Tai Chi. And he needs to do it again. He needs to ingest yang, but process it, refine it.
What?
The yin and yang.
I need to ingest yang? Like,
I think by that he means to listen to the Yang Gang, a speech by.
I mean, he's crazy.
Right, but again, he's trying to like get some sort of control back over his life and get back to his.
Grendel can offer him that control.
Oh yeah, as he tries to hone it in, control, swirl, be patient, directed.
This is a great page. This
cool.
is one of the pages where I was thinking like contender for one of the best in the saga. So
he's talking about. Well, I have continually refused to eddy.
That means to like veer off.
Right, but also, you know, Eddie.
To Eddie.
is Hunter's a real name?
Oh, there it is. Right, it's spelled differently, but
true.
That is true.
To bob about uncertainly.
That's crazy. Some of these letters, like the white marks, look like they're dry. It's not like it looks like maybe
Oh, I
white,
see. Yeah,
but
yeah.
also maybe like China
Like
marks there.
distressed even or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we gotta figure this out. In this last panel, where he's like reading Hunter's logs.
Right.
This is great. First of all, the Joe Matt negative space white is so cool. The lighting in his hair, like the maroon and the white and the blue, is super cool. On the lamp, I think what we're seeing is what's called overprinting. I'm not sure where that splotch.
Right.
I mean, you see it all the time in 4-color press books where there's just like the blacks or the blues don't. Maybe the plates aren't in the right order, or the ink isn't interacting with each other in the way it's supposed to. So you'll just see a blotch. And I wonder if that's what's happening here, but
it must be.
I can't imagine. Yeah. I mean, it's blue line, so you don't.
But like maybe there was like a splotch of black paint on one
I think
layer.
I'm looking
and then,
too far into it. I think the answer is that a
it's
darker color will contrast more with white.
right. And there's none of the red stuff there either,
Yeah.
I'm patient, I'm directed, I'm Grendel. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right. So then we're into December 19th now. My God, they got a new security guard at work. He's like, on the stage, man, if you have any questions, like, let me know what you need. Brian's trying again, just like any shred of
the Union has replaced Archie
life.
Bunker with Goliath the Philistine.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, look, I really don't care. It's just a job. Okay. He's like, yeah.
He like offers him, he tries to like be a good manager. The guy's like, fuck off.
And that's what I see Brian trying to grasp at any type of positivity, or maybe like, oh, here's a new person. Maybe I'll have, I can find a positive interaction with someone, but nah.
That's true. And there's a number of these sort of like workplace interactions that he has where he's obviously trying to be pleasant. And I think it's that thing where like when there's turmoil in your life, if you throw yourself into your work, that's a suitable way to sort of try to mitigate
to deal with
what you're going through. Yeah.
But man, right here on this panel, I am not weak. Panel 6, I believe. Like that is an out of character drawing for any of the artists in this involved in this.
Steranko, Paul Galassi, Gene. I mean, I don't want to say Galassi and Gene Day because it looks like Shang-Chi, but it does.
Well, yeah. I mean, it just is more precise than what Bernie normally does, or Matt does, or Joe Matt does.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing about this new security guard who's drawn in that kind of like heavy black shadows. Everyone kind of gets a different treatment here. And then the Tajiro mask is basically drawn in like a chibi style.
Oh yeah.
Right? So there's all kinds of stuff going on here.
Very cool. The
what a spread.
I love not weak.
Yeah, I love the sky in panel 1, the yellow on the bottom.
Yeah, and they translated that perfectly. look at the rat right inside the door on panel 2.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's and I love the in the first panel there's a bunch of flying cars in the background, and they just just like perfect atmosphere. Cool.
Word. All right, so in the darkness would help me. That spurred me on. He's looking again through this magical basket of shit that seems to provide him with whatever he needs. And then he's like, oh, here we go. I've got a bow and arrow.
Yeah, but there's a samurai sword hanging on the wall.
That's that dick-shaped samurai sword?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the one where if you told me that this spread was drawn by Mobius, I would say, of course it is.
Yeah. Of course. Again, we get a color change.
Where? Oh yeah, the orange.
Oh well, yeah. It's green to yellow in the Dark Horse.
I like this sequence where he's setting up the bow.
Yeah, like you can see it's like folded.
Right. Well, you can see a lot of like grain and texture in the blue line color.
Yeah.
As it goes from as it lightens up as he kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know how good his form is with that bow, but he is feeling himself, and Sekiro comes in.
Yeah, hey, Robin Hood. You almost done? I'm trying to go.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, right. And he's like, new guy saw me dancing around in here with the instrument of his demise.
Yeah. This reminded me of actually a lot of this reminded me of Being John Malkovich. You know that picture?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in quite some time though.
Okay, well, first of all, it's fucking amazing. It's just as
Right.
good as it was in high school.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch again.
It's so good. There's a part where John Cusack's consciousness like invades John Malkovich, and
Right.
Malkovich publicly is like, I'm going to from now on, when you hear my name, it will not be associated with acting, but with puppetry. And I was like, what the fuck? And then the parts where John Malkovich is a puppeteer remind me of this. But there's one part where the John Cusack consciousness makes him do like a crazy interpretive dance that's like based on a puppet performance that he's done, where he's like running around the room and doing backflips and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that kind of like need for like to be on the stage and like act out these awful feelings kind of reminds me of.
Oh wow. I'm gonna have to rewatch. All right. So he's like, thought you wasn't an actor. You know, he's like, I'm not, you son of a bitch. That spurred me on. And so he goes back out into the New York City night, the flying cars. He's at 53rd and dang, can't tell.
And Nowhere. Yeah, this is great. This looks like it could be drawn by Jack Kirby or by Mobius or Frank Miller. It's
Bernie's really showing what he's made of in this book.
Yeah. So so the one thing that's happening in this scene that is never, I guess it's clear in Dark Horse, is that all his shit is in a briefcase.
Right.
That's really important, but it's much easier to see when everything's orange.
Like you mean the mask and the arrow,
all his
right, Grendel stuff.
Grendel shit.
His Grendalia.
His Grendalia. I really love in panel 1 these bright yellow like headlights, street lights.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. All right. Frigid and hungry as a snake. I hate it. I hate it all. I hate it as hard as the concrete that is its very flesh. Come to think of it, I like that metaphor. A snake. The city slithering, sometimes scaring with revulsion, sometimes staring, baleful. God, how I hate this frigid pit. So there's a lot of like, like Frank Miller will repeat phrases. Here, words are being, used as motifs a little bit more,
and accentuated, and
yeah.
All right, so it looks as though he's being followed. For it is only I who can swim in the dark.
He has been spotted by this guy on the train.
Right. Maybe thinking like, oh, he's got a briefcase. What's in that briefcase? I want to know.
I suppose so. I don't think there's enough attention paid to the briefcase. Although panel 3 is pretty good. It's just kind of like, it's always like obscured or cropped or something. And so when I saw this guy sitting here, I thought it was Sekiro for a second.
I thought that for a second too.
But then he's got the little mole on it. So
right, which I think is just enough to make it.
And then also, this character becomes a little bit more like ragged as he appears more. So it's just this one panel where he's not quite
right.
He's not quite on model yet.
Yeah, he's almost Clausian in design.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But there's so many different references to different artists. This panel with the rat with the girl in silhouette is great. No, piss.
This is edible.
Butter. Does this look edible? And then you go up from the balloon to him giving a thumbs up, and then she's holding a rat.
Yeah.
This is one of the best panels in the
it's so good. Oh my God.
I love it. Does it look edible? That's great.
Yeah. Popping out of it's the guy popping out of the dumpster there.
Yeah, yo, pal.
All right, so then we turn, and in Kimiko, we get the hype page. We get a little bit from editor Maggie Brenner. And then we turn again. And he's
Geraldine Peck did a pretty good job.
of the hype page.
over the last 14 issues,
Mhm.
like the in-house design has gone from boilerplate to almost great.
Ooh.
It just looks better, especially the in-house ads. I mean, the Harlan Ellison ad looks fucking great. The satin jacket ad. Okay,
Oh
great.
yeah.
Okay, great.
All right, and we see that
hype.
Sam Keith inked Justice Machine number 11. I didn't know that.
Hot pick. What the fuck is
Interesting.
Justice Machine?
No, don't know.
Okay, great.
I probably have one though. I
probably have it.
probably in the old Kamiko box back there.
All right,
So he's continuing plucka shit. The 21st, you putts. So he's continuing walking. He's like walking his way into the cool park. Specks of beauty on the back of a snake. I try not to be blind to them. So he's reflecting, and he goes into the park, and he overlooks on where Argent was previously housed, his old house where it all happened. And it seems like he wants to like blow this place up or something.
Yeah, he's going to performatively shoot an arrow at a building. I think that the building here, which looks like it's done in airbrush of some sort,
colored, yeah.
When you look across the two editions, this is the example where on newsprint the subtlety is really perfect. And when you compare the two, it looks almost oversaturated.
Yeah, in the Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Right.
Really cool effect. I thought this thing with the girl where he sees the little girl in his glasses. I thought this was like another My Little Chickadee reference.
Right.
In a way, I want a float cycle. It's repeating twice.
Right.
She wants a float cycle. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Just kind of seeing maybe for a second, like something in an innocence, perhaps that gives him a brief like view of solace or of joy or something that's not disgusting, and then right back into
Park. And his notes are more of the snake metaphor. Are speckles of beauty on the back of a snake, and I try not to be blind to them. But that's how a snake beguiles you, I guess, the scales or whatever. And in its maw is the park. I went there tonight feeling drawn by the fangs.
The fangs of Argent.
At the heart of the beast, the lair where he lived, breathed, ate, and shat. Okay.
All right. So then
anyway,
he's
Brian,
prepping.
and then Grendel will strike at this carnal world. Okay, great. He's prepping.
Takes his sunglasses off, ties on the mask, gets the arrow, the bow and arrow ready. Strike this carnal world in its heart.
This has kind of a Dave Mazzucchelli kind of feel to it for some reason.
And again here they change like the green kind of like fades into the yellow as he like gets vicious in the Kamiko, but in the Dark Horse it's just straight orange, if you will. Yeah,
very weird. We'll have to.
We turn the page and the descent, the descent begins. Cut out the heart of this beast. Cut out the heart. Oh, dang. Okay, here's the major change. They took it out in the Kamiko. There's 3. Cut out the heart of this beast. Cut out the heart of this beast. Cut out the heart of this beast. But then in the Dark Horse, there's only 1.
So that makes me think that it is possible that there's a separate layer of acetate.
Has to be with the white.
Because otherwise it would be, if it's not easy to make that change, you don't make that change.
Do it. No, absolutely not. I think it is a good change. It's a positive.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, one way that you could do it is get rid of the third one and then make the second one turn down the volume a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
But that fourth panel where it just kind of stands there like a putz is
breathing out.
Yeah. I mean, it was very performative. It was just theater. He's gonna shoot an arrow at the building. Get out of here. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, like he starts to do it, he pulls back, but then he does nothing. He doesn't do it, right?
He also has 1 arrow.
Right.
Maybe 2. I think he has at least 2 arrows.
Yep, but the beast is dead, isn't he? Didn't she kill him? Didn't I see it? I'm so very confused in the end, and he just kind of puts this box down, and then he
I think he's
hears.
taking. Okay, so I think what's happening here is that this mound of rocks.
Mhm.
That's where the logs are buried. That this is a safe.
Must be,
This
yeah.
is a safe that has the logs that he's maybe now putting his own notes into. Where it's now the three of them have their shit in there.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, it must be that, because Central Park again was always a central place for Grendel, for Christine, for Hunter. So
Does this page have a lot of what looks like that plate slippage?
yeah,
Like
for sure, especially the bottom row.
Yeah, right.
Some
That's
major slippage.
crazy. Maybe it
Yeah.
is slippage. Can't be. I don't know. Who's to say?
And they fixed it this time in the Dark Horse. So, but then there's also a black outline around the page, which is weird. Do you have that?
That is weird.
Yeah.
That might be a production error. I don't know. Or maybe it's because I don't know. Who's to say?
That's probably supposed to be the cut line, the bleed line.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy comes up behind him. He's like, "All right, motherfucker, no shit, or I cut you. Who would threaten me? Who would die?" And man, so here again, each issue kind of ends with like one more step downwards for Brian.
Yeah, for sure. And so I had a tough time with this. This is his bow. I see. This is his bow, which has been, the cord is wrapped around the skinny part.
Right. And it's like, it like breaks down. It kind of like goes together and probably like screws tight.
Yeah. This page has, the figures kind of remind me like Jeff Darrow for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's because they're stiff, but maybe it's that. I don't know.
Yeah, but man, he smashed him. He's like, "My nose, you mother." And then I love
what
this
a panel.
look.
What a panel.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh man. And he runs away, and Brian gets that last Grendelized arrow.
Who cares? He will care. He will fear. He will regret. He will sweat. Not me. I'm Grendel. I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. Turn the page as he's running. He's like, "Motherfucker, these crazy shit." Ah, goosh.
This is great. You missed one. He thinks he's great.
Oh yes, so good. And then here's like, I mean, this panel is basically like the cover of the Dark Horse.
And then this one. Okay, so this is another
in the cover of the book.
This is another amazing page. This figure here really comes into his own in terms of design in these three panels. Listen, I my characters changed from panel to panel every panel. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying by the time we hit panel 2 here, like this is a fully formed, designed character. And when he sort of melts and like bleeds out, everything gets all squidgy and like.
Oh yeah. This
reminded me of the Bernie Krigstein story of the Master Race.
Yeah.
Some of this shit's going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Brian's just right there again. He's okay with killing now, and then he's like, he hears a gasp, and there's a little girl or
it's a jogger.
A jogger, a person who sees him, and they're like, "Huh."
The atmosphere here is really. Look at this. The black ink on this page is the maroon on almost everything. On this one with the jogger, where the hand splup, and then his mask and jacket, these trees.
Oh yeah,
they just took the maroon.
Yeah, they didn't even go hard black on that at all.
Crazy. There's in the first panel, which is lovely. I love the shape of his body in the snow, the squiggy line on top. But then it looks like the fine white lines of his Grendel mask have maybe also been added on that perhaps top acetate layer.
Right.
They're just a little, the lines in the mask are just a little too crisp.
Oh, and they're different in the Dark Horse and the Canadian.
Oh, well, it looks like they removed
a layer.
It might be the same thing as the bowstring also. What was the other one? I don't know, something else. Where it died, where one of these fine white lines was developed clearer.
Oh, right. Like the circle in her glasses, page like
Okay,
3 or
thank you.
4.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
I really like the sound effect. Not only the font, but like
Mhm.
how very precisely it's composed with the blood and the action. And
Right. And nowhere else is there a so defined lettering.
right, it was last
Last year?
issue when they did the knock 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 when Regina was at his door. Maybe it's on the
Hmm.
first page.
Again, yeah.
No, yeah, it ends. The first issue ends with that like very Zappa page of like we're
Right.
trying to get him.
And he's
All
like,
right, cool.
yeah.
All would oppose me. Anyway, he will tremble, he will bleed, his eyes will bulge, and his head will pound, and he'll know. And then, like, all who would oppose me, all who would, oh shit,
Mhm.
all who
Fuck.
see me,
And he's
all
like,
who
snap.
oppose me, die, all who fear me. All right, great.
Please don't. I won't, I swear. And he shoots and misses, and he's only got the last arrow.
He's got 2 arrows.
He shot the guy with one, and now he shot at her with the other.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's 1 arrow. He pulled it out.
Oh, he pulled it out of the guy, yeah,
Pulls
because
out
it's
his back
dripping.
and shoots it
Yep.
at her.
Ah, my
What a
God, my
schmuck.
God, I can't see the bottom as I fall. I had believed I was using my fear. Now I know I have become it.
This whole next page has to be read. So
The whole page has to be read. I mean,
It's a
it's
great-
so, yeah.
Are you agreeing with me?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. I mean, it's
Yeah.
huge. It's
So why don't we alternate?
much.
I'll start and do the
Okay.
first one.
Here we
It's a
go.
very
Follow
cool,
along.
Very cool take on a 9-panel grid.
Yeah, very cool.
Sped home immediately. Don't remember the cab color or the driver's face. Only that woman's scream, "Jesus!" Did she get a good look? And didn't I really want to hit her? No, not me. The terror, devil. The mask now hurts like a handful of razors, but I can't let go. I'm naked beneath my covers.
The bed is soaked through to the mattress. For it wasn't till I got home that I realized where the terror really was. Not until I was able to stop shaking and began to write this. It was then that I saw where the terror really lives, where it writes in its own.
Where it writes in its own bloody afterbirth / after death. This city is not the terror, only its womb. Tujiro was not the terror, only a mirror of its hideous smile. And Argent was not the terror, only a wretched rattle that the terror shook. No, the terror is me, is in me.
Even as it was ripened in Chris, even as it was seeded in Hunter, but the terror is only itself. It was as I began this entry that I first noticed some of my former notes scattered down by my frenzy, and then I noticed the backs of the notes, my notes.
Scrawled with my hand of a madman. My hand, probably my left from the look of it, but it can only be mine, and spoken with the lips of the terror. Him, Grendel. Now I realize that he's not just a mask, not just a tool. I've been his tool for terror.
At first, the ramblings are just that, incoherent repetitions from the logs, quotes of Grendel's past. But then, suddenly, there are no longer reflex. They are but commentary. The terror is independent. It thinks for itself, regardless of me. This I know. And what is worse? What is far, 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 far worse? There's a problem with this host. He doesn't succumb. He doesn't wallow. He feels. He thinks.
What is worse? What is far, far worse? He knows.
He knows.
What a fucking ending.
Damn.
What
Well,
a
and
fucking-
still we got one more ish, huh?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
This is heavy shit.
Oh
So
my
I'd
God.
never read that before. There's
Yeah.
a straight up demon talking about what's going on.
Mhm.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Really, really cool.
Really great. That's what it like takes it to a such deeper level, to a somehow or more human level, and yet also a more like
More
demonic
supernatural
level. Yeah.
I think that it might have helped if in this scene we might have been able to, like, if the issue had built up by showing him doing the writing and showing the notes getting scattered, and then him, if we could actually see that discovery, I'd be like, what the fuck? But I think that that's not really necessary because of the way that the Grendel shows up at the bottom.
Right.
And then they both have the same response on the page turn. Like, that's some chilling, great fucking comic book writing.
Yes.
Yes.
Dude, this is wild. So in the end of the Dark Horse, there's this article called Semana Negra HDC 2002.
Yeah, it's a goth festival.
Damn. And they have this: visitors to the Grendel exhibition were greeted by this life-size statue of the devil himself. Matt's like, unfortunately, it wouldn't fit into my luggage for the trip home.
Yes, but on the next page, you see that it's going to join Captain Haddock and Torpedo and
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, Peter Punk.
all these people.
That is so freaking cool. The Shadow.
Drake and the Shadow, yeah. So that's cool.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, I guess this is like the local newspaper talking about that. Oh, look at that. There's some Teddy Christensen art. Oh, this is all this is anthology stuff. Oh yeah, there's.
Oh, it's him. It's Matt and Teddy Christensen on our way to and from lunch. Man, this is really cool.
It's in Spain. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it says Spain.
Cool. Oh, and then
a grand festival in the north of Spain.
Here's Darko McCann.
Oh yeah.
Darko McCann looks like a guy who can tell you some stories.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Damn, that's so awesome. I would love to go see that. All right. Well, I guess it's another funny thing is in the Grendel's Lair, in the letters column in the Kamiko, there's a few different letters about issue 9, the wordless.
Oh, really?
Since from Greg W. Bonnet in Wakeman, Ohio. Matt, about Grendel 19. P.S. 2 wordy. People just did not seem to like it. It seems like people were talking shit.
No. You misunderstand.
I misunderstand.
The response to number 9 was almost unanimously positive. Only one malcontent felt he was cheating.
Oh, right.
Let's find that guy's letter and see how he gets eviscerated.
Greg W. Bonnet, if you're listening, shout out. Two Marylanders, one from Indian Head and one from Lutherville. All right, sweet. Next week we continue and close out the Brian Lee Sung.
I don't think they printed the malcontent letter.
Yeah, I think Diana's had enough of that.
Yeah. What an issue. I am really, really thrilled. I am thrilled. Like, it's just funny that in this one issue, Wiggins is suddenly a much more interesting character.
Right. And he's going to continue on for a little bit to the point of where, I mean, he becomes a well enough fleshed out character. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so he tells Hunter Rose stories. Like
he becomes like an author. Yeah. And he like writes and
there's this thing,
has a best-selling book about Grendel.
All these characters go deep into their heads and become authors, and it's very indulgent and very like, we both identify as writers, but like, if someone said, what do you do? I wouldn't say I'm a writer, like, unless I was like Stan Lee at a cocktail party in 1955,
Right. But if I had such a close interaction with like, say I, worked with Jim Morrison for a month or something, I would be able to get a book out of that probably, or something, like these people like, spent a year with Grendel, basically chasing Grendel. And, he, has this firsthand knowledge about, Argent. Did Argent tell stories, around the campfire?
I'm just
at
fascinated
night?
by the fact that it seems like it's all wrapped up in storytelling, that
right. Like
Brian, as far as we know, was not particularly a writer.
Right.
Until
all this happened. He had to have a place to get it out. Yeah.
And so I think that that's maybe a reflection on sort of like the narcissism. Your thoughts are fucking gold. I can't bear the thought of not recording some of my incredible thoughts.
All right, great. Another great week, Ben. Great chatting with you.
Long
then-
episode.
This is a long app.
This is a
This
long
is a
episode.
big-ish, too. Until next week, Vivat Grendel, and keep on Grendel in.